Welcome to today's class. Today I'll be talking about globalization. As you all know, globalization is a concept that has just been there for quite some time now, and companies that want to be strategic and want to be competitive have embraced globalization. So globalization basically is a phenomenon that has begun in the primitive form when humans first settled in different areas in the world. So the focus was basically to allow people to be able to move from one country to another so as to do business. So this concept has shown a rather steady and rapid progression in recent times and has become an international dynamic due to technological advancement. And this has increased the speed and scale so that the countries in all the continents have been affected and engaged. So what is globalization? Globalization can be defined as a process that is based on international strategies aimed at expanding business operations on a worldwide level and was precipitated by the facilitation of global communication due to technological advancement and social-economic, political and environmental development. So what has led to globalization to be known is the issue of technological advancement. You realize countries nowadays are able to embrace technology, and because of this, therefore, globalization has been known across all the continents. So globalization also involves the free movement of goods and services and people across the world in a seamless and integrated manner. So you realize you can move from any part of the world. You can move goods from one country to the other. You can move services across different countries in a seamless manner. And this has led to integration not only of people but also countries. So globalization can be thought of to be the result of opening up the global economy and the continental increase in trade between nations. So you realize at the end of the day, nations are able to transact business across various geopolitical boundaries. So what are some of the goals of globalization? The first goal of globalization is to provide organizations with a superior competitive position with lower operating costs. So companies that want to be competitive at the end of the day must embrace what is called globalization. And by so doing, at the end of the day, you realize their operational cost will be reduced because of the scope in which they are getting customers from. The other goal of globalization is to gain greater number of products, services and consumers. This approach has led to competition due to diversification of resources. So companies are able to diversify their resources. They're able to venture into new ideas, into new fields, into new markets. And this has led to a number of greater products and services. Therefore, consumers are able to get a wider range of products and services. So the other goal of globalization is that it has led to the creation and development of new investment opportunities by opening up additional markets and accessing new resources. For example, today, if you wanted to go to a new market, let's say the Nigerian market, you can just go there by just clicking a button and you're able to do business with somebody who is in Nigeria. It has also led to accessing new resources. For example, in Kenya, they are able to export avocado to other countries like China, and this has led to accessing new resources in China. So basically, when they take the avocados to China, they're able to get new products from China and bring them to Kenya, and therefore led to accessing of new resources. It has also led to diversification of resources, and this is a business strategy that has increased the variety of business products and services within various organizations. So diversification is all about strengthening institutions by lowering organizational risks, spreading interest in different areas, and taking advantage of the market opportunities by acquiring companies, both horizontal and vertical natures. So different countries or different companies have come up with various diversification strategies, and this has enabled them to be able to venture into new areas and has led to better market scope. So the other thing that I'm going to talk about are the components of globalization. So what are some of the components? Globalization has three major components, and one of the components is the GDP, which is the gross domestic product. We also have industrialization, and we have the human development index. The GDP in the market basically is the market value of all finished goods and services produced within a country border in a year. And the services basically are measured, they measure the overall economic output of a particular country. So basically GDP allows the countries to be able to measure their strength when it comes to economic output. It is also a process which is driven by technological innovations, effectors social change, and economic development by transforming countries into modernized industrial or developed nations. So GDP basically allows companies to be able to come up with various technological innovations, and these innovations will help them transform their countries' modernized industrial activities. The Human Development Index talks about three components, that is a country's population life expectancy, the knowledge and education measured by the adult literacy, and the income. So Human Development Index basically is able to know the population life expectancy. How long does the individuals or people in a particular country able to live? Are they able to reach the age of 50 years or 60 or 70, depending on the life expectancy of that country? The other thing that is very important is the knowledge and education, which is measured by the adult literacy. Are the adults in that country able to grasp when it comes to knowledge and education? And lastly, we have income. So you can see those components basically are intermingling. GDP, industrialization, and human development. All these components go hand in hand. So what are some of the effects of globalization? We have positive effects and we have negative effects. And I'm going to start with the positive effects. So the first positive effect is that globalization has enabled improvement and advancement of technology. You realize companies and individuals are able to borrow from other countries, and this has led to the improvement and advancement of technology. Recently we saw various technologies that have been brought about by the issues of COVID-19. You realize companies nowadays are using the technology, and as an effect therefore they are improving their business, even though we have a pandemic that is called COVID-19. As much as it has affected business, companies have decided to come up with new innovations, and this has led to improvement of technology, and this is as a result of what is called globalization. It has also led to creation of development and regional economic blocks. So companies and countries within a particular regions are able to come together to develop in the sense that they are doing business with each other. For example, the East African communities. These are countries which are in the eastern part of Africa. For example, Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Ethiopia, Sudan, and those countries. We also have other regions like the Common Market of East and Central Africa. So basically these are countries that are in the Eastern and Southern Africa. We also have ECOWAS, and we have NAFTA. NAFTA, these are companies that are in Europe, and that one is basically European countries that allow free trade associations in those countries. The other effect, positive effect, is that globalization has enabled free trade amongst nations, hence improved relationship among nations. So at the end of the day, companies are able to trade together, and as a result, it has led to better relationships. For example, Kenya has gone east, it has gone to China, and you realize those relationships between Kenya and China has improved, and as a result, even people can go and work in China, and Chinese can also come to Africa, and that is as a result of globalization. It has also led to social cultural interactions. Nowadays people are starting to borrow cultures from other countries. Therefore, globalization has enabled people to interact socially. You can now marry a European or a Chinese, and at the end of the day, you interact culturally. It has increased and improved infrastructure development. For example, Thika Road today was constructed by Chinese. We have Ngong Road, which was constructed by the Japanese. So you can see through globalization, companies are able to come to Africa and are able to improve their infrastructure, buildings, roads, and what have you. Globalization has also improved the standard of living of people and nations. So you realize when you work in a country or in a company that is abroad, at the end of the day, you are able to get a salary. And once you get the salary, then your life standard is increased. The other thing is that it has led to realization of new markets. Basically, companies are able to realize new markets. For example, you can sell your oranges in another country. Let's say you can sell your oranges in Nigeria, you can sell your oranges in UK, you can export flowers in a new market in Netherlands or abroad. So therefore, globalization has led to realization of new markets. It has also led to innovation and creativity among peoples and nations. So people are able to get new ideas, and people are able to be creative. And at the end of the day, through that, nations are able to improve with new innovations. Like recently I saw an innovation that one of the citizens of Kenya came up with, a machine that is able to pack items without any interference. It has also led to the development of general agreement of trade and tariffs. So basically, companies are able to come together and agree on various tariffs and various trades and how they are going to do their business. So you can see globalization basically has a lot of positive effects. What are some of the negative effects of globalization? The first negative effect is that it has led to increased dumping of unwanted goods from developed countries to developing countries. You realize some companies abroad are dumping items, unusable items, to developing countries, and this has led to a lot of dumping materials that are not necessary to developing countries, and this has a negative effect to these developing countries. It has also led to increased environmental degradation. So you realize when they dump those materials, they're able to destroy the environment. Some companies also come to Africa, they open a company, and at the end of the day, they dispose of gaseous materials in the air, and at the end of the day, affect the environment and affect also people. So basically, globalization, as much as it's good, it's a good thing, companies have been able to destroy the environment. It has also led to terrorism or crime. So people are able to be transported from one country to another, and those people sometimes you don't know their behavior, and at the end of the day they end up leading some terrorism activities, and this affects countries. It has also increased the interdependency of countries. Therefore, countries do not want to produce their own. You can see the case of the COVID-19. Companies now have woken up because they've realized there is no much dependency with other countries, in that every country now wants to stand alone because of the pandemic. So therefore, it has forced companies to be able to come up with new innovations. Therefore, because of globalization, you realize companies are depending a lot on the other countries, and at the end of the day, this affects how business is done. It has also led to the undermining of local industries. You realize many customers want materials from abroad, and at the end of the day, it affects how even the local companies grow. This is because local companies believe they are being undermined, and at the end of the day, they do not grow. So globalization, as much as it's good, it also has led to undermining of the local industries. Customers do not want to buy from the local market, and at the end of the day, companies close. Therefore, you can see globalization is a good thing, but also it's also a bad thing. But companies must also embrace globalization so that they can be able to increase their capacity when it comes to production and capacity when it comes to ideas and innovation. Thank you.